A major move is imminent for this Miami Heat organization as we just got brand new information on Jonathan Kuminga's situation out in Golden State and how the Miami Heat might be the beneficiary of a three-team major trade. I'm here to break down all of the bits and pieces on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, before we get to the news, remember, scroll down and click the subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Miami Heat, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed. We do appreciate it, but now let's get to it and break down, will this chaos result in DeMar DeRozan to Miami? Now, we've broken this conversation down in the past, and not even just this offseason, but in offseasons prior, as DeMar DeRozan has been in connections to this Heat team before. But now this is really starting to pick up some steam. And if you guys don't remember, or if you have not seen it, we broke down this clip from Sacktown Sports 1140, as this radio host went on to propose the idea that he believes behind closed doors that between DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings organization, if the Kings land Jonathan Kuminga in a Sacramento Kings jersey this offseason, there is a handshake agreement to move DeMar DeRozan. Now, in saying that, he immediately followed it up with the idea of his own personal mock trade that he believes would make some sense for Sacramento. And again, this is a Sacramento-based journalist radio station. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure, but yes, that's the idea. They produce content from Sacramento. He said Terry Rozier and 2 draft picks. I believe it was 2 second-round picks to be exact. But the idea of this is awesome for Miami. As we all know, Terry Rozier is he is being federally investigated for allegedly running a gambling operation illegally while being a professional athlete in the NBA, which we all know you cannot do. It's not something you can do. And because of that, and because of the lack of performances and overall statistical production anyone has witnessed from Terry Rozier in a Miami Heat jersey, it'd be really nice to move him. There's a lot of depth on this Miami Heat team, not only at the guard position, but from top to bottom. And yes, could DeMar DeRozan fit in with Miami? It would be a bit tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot of scoring on this team already, and it's very well built. If someone is willing and able to come off that bench as a strict role player, fill in when someone gets injured or needs the rest or time, load management, whatever it may be, you'd have a lot of depth, which is always good to have. But you're going to have Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, DeMar DeRozan containing the 2 and 3 spots on this Miami Heat organization, and not even to mention all the young guys like Pelle Larsson, Jaquez, obviously Tyler Hero, Kasparis, the first-round pick from this past draft. There is a lot of talent. So would it make sense for the Heat schematically? Yes, if you just wanted an ample amount of depth to be able to fall back on later into the season and not play them, whether it's DeMar every single game or if it's Norman every single game. I feel like with that construction of the roster, unless they were playing small samples of minutes or maybe just holding on to have fresh legs in the second half of the season, like someone in DeMar DeRozan who has been playing basketball for such a long time, I could see how that could work. But again, there's only one basketball to go around, and whether or not that dynamic would work is to be determined. Now, Heat Culture went on to tweet this. Seems like the Miami Heat are actively trying to trade Terry Rozier since they're in the luxury tax territory. So far, he's been linked to the Kings, Wizards, and Bulls. Getting one of DeRozan, Vucevic, or Monk would get them just below the luxury tax threshold. Needed to happen soon. I love any of these names. We've broken down DeMar, we've broken down Vucevic. We have not broken down Malik Monk because we haven't been in exact connections to him. And the reason being is because Malik Monk is getting a lot of attraction from not only the Sacramento Kings, obviously, but they're using him as trade bait for Jonathan Kuminga with the Golden State Warriors, based off this article written by Sam Amick just today. He goes on to say, as the Kings, who last spoke with the Warriors earlier this week, team sources say they're offered a 3-year, $63 million deal for Kuminga in a proposal that would send veteran guard Malik Monk and their 2030 first-round pick, which is a lottery-protected pick, to the Warriors. That deal would require the Warriors to move more salary elsewhere to stay under the first apron, likely Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. These are the newest updates as they just came out this morning, about an hour ago, and this is really intriguing because the idea that Malik Monk would be going to Golden State would then have to involve another team. What about Miami? Miami can send Terry Rozier to either Golden State, which I highly doubt, as they have a young prospect there at guard, as well as obviously the greatest shooter to ever live in Steph Curry. They could send Rozier to Sacramento. DeMar could end up in Miami. Jonathan Kuminga can end up in Sacramento. And obviously going back to Golden State would be Malik Monk, that 2030 first-round pick. And then Miami could possibly throw in someone, a low-tier bench player, if you will, a complimentary guy that could possibly be moved. Or Sacramento could give up even more in exchange for someone like Jonathan Kuminga, who we all know is being held at an extremely high price tag from the Golden State Warriors because they simply don't want to give him up. The only problem is Jonathan Kuminga wants to get out of Golden State, and he wants to get to Sacramento specifically. Now, this is the main article that we're going to be breaking down, as there's a lot of information in here surrounding this entire conversation involving all three parties, but specifically Kuminga. And he really is the biggest domino that has to fall because, again, if Kuminga does not end up in Sacramento cannot move DeMar DeRozan because they're hoping Kuminga can walk in there and be the younger, fresher version of DeRozan. And that makes a lot of sense. Kuminga in Golden State, when he gets a minutes to play and gets the opportunity to go out there and perform, he's electric on the offensive end while also being respectable on the defensive end. DeMar is now getting up there in age. He's more of a complimentary guy. Yes, he can still score at will. I'm not arguing against that. I'm not arguing against his overall abilities. But is he going to be your number one guy, your number 1B guy on a championship level team? I don't think he is. I don't think he can unless he's surrounded by an ample amount of talent. And at that case, he wouldn't be the 1B guy or even the 1A guy. He would be more of the B or third or fourth option in those rosters or on those rosters. So we're going to break down this article written by Shams. He went on to tweet it. And if you click on the picture, it takes you to the article. It goes on to say the Golden State Warriors made another push to retain Jonathan Kuminga over the past several days, but the restricted free agent is continuing to decline their 2-year, $45 million offer, sources told ESPN on Wednesday. Kuminga's decision is due in large part to the Warriors' insistence on having a team option for the second season and their unwillingness to let him maintain the built-in no-trade clause, which makes sense. Jonathan Kuminga is not going to be the second player or now the third player because it was LeBron and Bradley Beal last year. It's now LeBron and Damian Lillard this year that have no trade clauses in their contract, the only two players to currently have one. And arguably, LeBron James is the only one that should ever have one, at least in this generation of players. Now, Kuminga and Turner have used July to explore their sign and trade options. The most significant negotiations have been with the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns, getting proposals up for 4 years approaching $90 million total, including a player option for the final season, sources said. Phoenix has made the most lucrative push via sign and trade. So Phoenix is still very much an option in this entire negotiation, which could be a problem for this Miami Heat organization in their hopes to get DeMar DeRozan. Now, Kuminga prefers the longer-term offers presented by the Kings and the Suns because he believes that they signify a fresh start, a larger guaranteed role, a promised starting position, a greater level of respect, and a career control. Shown in part through the player option, sources said, Phoenix proposal is also nearly $70 million more guaranteed than the Warriors offer. And again, going back to the first article that we mentioned, 3 years, $63 million from the Kings is the newest option or offer from the Sacramento Kings for Jonathan Kuminga. And again, in comparison to that 2-year, $45 million deal, so you'd have 22.5 per year from the Warriors, and rather than that, you could go have 22 for 3 years with a player option. It's interesting. It's going to be really interesting. I will say I don't believe the Warriors have a chance to bring back Kuminga. Like, he would have to be forced to end up being there, and he wouldn't enjoy it. And I don't believe it would be a pretty sight. I think it would become a all-star players just saga once again with their drama trying to force their way out of a team. Jimmy Butler, something like that. As NBA Central went on to post this, which was cited from Shams, Jonathan Kuminga reportedly believes that the Warriors have stunted his growth, per Shams. So, you can't take more of a crack at an organization than that. The whole reason you're brought into their organization and kept in their organization is because they have hope and a lot of potential and optimism placed into you. They want you to continue to get better. It's someone they can build around later in your career when it's your time to really take the torch and be a part of the passing of the torch from someone like Steph Curry and the other notable names that have played in Golden State. Obviously, that doesn't seem like it's the case. He feels like he's been held back in Golden State, and because of that, he wants to get out of Golden State. It'll be interesting to see whether or not it is Phoenix or if it's Sacramento, but I am here to tell you, if it is Sacramento, there is a legitimate chance the Miami Heat land with DeMar DeRozan. Let me know down below, what are your overall thoughts and opinions? Do you think DeMar DeRozan in Miami with the roster as currently constructed would work? And is it something that you'd be willing to watch? Is it something you want to see how it works, or are you flat out just don't want it to even happen? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.